Good morning, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and something strange happened to me on Friday. So, I got my paycheck, and now I actually have more assets than I do debts. So, I have $19,000 in student loan debts, but I have $20,000 in the stock market, which is amazing. Like, I'm so happy about this. I feel very much my heart is a lot more at ease because now I could, if I wanted to, completely pay off all of my student loan debt all at once. Now, I'm not going to do that for multiple reasons. The first one is just because the interest rate on my student loan debt is really, really, really low. So I make significantly more money keeping that in the market. So I make more money having it in the market. Second reason is having money in the market, I'm able to have higher liquidity. So if some emergency happens or I need the money for some reason, I am able to take it out and I can address whatever emergency I'm having. So I'm going to keep my money in the market. I can make more money from it and then just pay off the minimum amount per month. But it feels really nice to actually have that money where I feel like, okay, well, now I'm not negative anymore. I'm actually net positive. So it's a really nice feeling. Now, it does ask the question, like, okay, well, what is my perspective on money? Now that I have an engineering job, I need to start thinking to myself, like, okay, well, what kind of relationship do I actually want to have with money, and how should I move forward? So the way that I'm looking at it right now is okay, so I get paid every two weeks, but I'll look at it at a month perspective. So in a month, I have a certain amount of money that I get, and then taxes and living expenses and all of this will bring that down. So then I have discretionary spending here. So I can't do much with this, right? I can't affect my taxes. I can't affect, I have to pay rent every month. I have to pay electricity. I have to do food, right? Like these ones, these expenses, I can't really lower anymore. This discretionary spending, okay, well, now the question becomes what percentage do I put towards the market and what percentage do I kind of enjoy myself with? Like use, right? Now, I don't want it to be 100% that I put everything towards the market and the reason is because I don't want to live a tragedy, right? I don't want to work extremely hard, penny pinch every single day. Just live that destitute life. Just your entire life, it's a tragedy, and you have no fun, you have no enjoyment. You just like mm, going from day to day to day to day, and you're constantly just like living a really low quality life. I don't want that. I want to live a good life. That's why I went into engineering, is because it allows me to be able to actually have a better life. So I don't want it to be zero. So then what's the actual amount that I should have it? And I think what is a reasonable percentage is just 50-50. So from my discretionary, here's all the money that I have to pay for living expenses. Okay, well, here 50% goes towards saving. And then the other 50%, I can do whatever I want with it, right? I can spend it on a hobby. I can do something interesting. I can actually like do something that I feel will improve my life. So that's that 50%. But I don't think I'm going to do it quite right now. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think actually it's going to be more like this for the time being. The reason is, and this means 100% goes to the market, 0% goes to fun. The reason is because I'm actually in a very vulnerable position right now. So I just got hired as a software engineer a month ago. So what does that mean? It means number one, I don't have much skills. I'm fresh out of school, and then I did 4 months of an internship and 1 month as a software engineer. So I have 4 months of actual skills. Not much. Okay. The second thing is just work experience duration. That's also very low, right? Or 5 months is not a long period. So that's very risky as well. Then the other thing is just whenever you start at a company, well, I mean that is the a very risky time, right? So there's the third one, and then the fourth is the financial aspect that I don't have a large amount of money that I could draw from if an emergency comes up. So there's four areas where I see high levels of risk. And so I want to my current goal is to try to lower all four of these risks as much as I can, as fast as I can. And then once I feel like they've been lowered down to a level which I can tolerate, then I might be able to move this needle more towards the 50-50 mark. So, okay, what are my methods that I'm trying to think of in order to lower my risk? Now, luckily, time is actually working in my advantage to all four of these. So, the first one is skills. So, the more that I learn, the more that I apply myself, the more that I dig into different things at the company, the more that I am able to actually take in the knowledge. Okay, this mitigates that risk, right? And luckily, I'm at a company that I am able to get a ton of this information and knowledge and skill set. So this one is working really good. Second one is work experience. So this one I can't do much, right? If I work really hard and I do 2 weeks, right? And that's how I kind of block things out because I get paid each 2 weeks. So when I was in college, it was every term. Like that's how my that's how my thought process was. Did it in time blocks of terms. Now it's in time blocks of 2 weeks because that's kind of the paycheck cycle. So every 2 weeks, well, if you work really hard, it doesn't really. You don't work 3 weeks if you work really hard, right? It's still 2 weeks. So this one is just you have to build time, right? So each paycheck, I do get 2 weeks of extra like work experience. Then the third one is the the idea that I'm at the company trying to kind of establish myself. So the way that I can work on this is just talking to my management, seeing like what kind of skills do they want, where can I be useful, trying to make sure that my position is very secure because I'm at a company that I'm in the hardware department doing software. And what I'm really worried about, this is one of my concerns, right? Like my the way that I think is very much like, okay, well, I'm worried about what is the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario that's like reasonably plausible. Obviously, I'm not thinking about like can what if the sun burns out or something like this. But I mean, what do I think is a reasonable possibility? And one of the things that I think could happen is okay, well, if I'm in the hardware department, what if they just run out of work for me? Right? Like, what if they're just like, well, I mean, we don't have much more software stuff for you to do. Okay, so one of the ways that I can mitigate this risk is to kind of just ask around, make sure that I make myself helpful, right? And then the fourth one is okay, well, every single paycheck, put that money in the market as my bank account starts to grow, 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 grow. Nice. That risk is going down. So the main two or three that I'm really, I will say the biggest one actually is the skill one because this is the area which I do have the most control over, right? If I work really hard, if I actually take on as many tasks as I can, if I really say, okay, well, I'm curious about this. What's going on? What's happening? Right? And I start to try to gain as many skills as I can. This is one that I really have control over. The time, I don't have much control over. The embedding myself at the company, okay, I do have a little bit of control over this. And then the financial, well, that's just the percentage. And if I already have it over here, I can't do any extra. I can't do any more, right? If you work really hard, you don't get paid more. You still get paid your allotted uh, pay amount. So the two that I do have the most control over are the the skills that I get and embedding myself at the company. And so that's kind of my thought process right now is I'm so happy to be at this company. I'm so glad that I finally have an opportunity to actually be an engineer, to build my career. I'm so happy. It feels amazing to be able to have more coming in than is going out. I feel just relaxed that I'm not constantly worried about what if I can't pay for rent? What's going to happen if I don't have enough money for this? What's going to happen about this? And I'm constantly worrying and stressed out and thinking about the future like, oh, well, this bad thing could happen, that bad thing could happen, that bad thing could happen, that, right? Like in the past, before I had this job, I had so many of those kind of stresses where I was just thinking about everything that could go wrong, everything that possibly could go wrong. Now that I'm at the company, now that I'm hired as an actual software engineer, I feel so much better, so much more relaxed, so much more calm. But I also want to make sure that I'm cognizant of those, just making sure that I set myself up for future and mitigate any of those risks. So that's why I'm thinking that's kind of where my headspace is right now. Great. I have a career. I'm moving forward. But I want to make sure that I lower these risks as quickly as possible. And then as these risks go down, then I can move this needle towards 50-50. And the other thing is, by moving these risks down, it actually builds my career. So I'm able to get more skills. It doesn't just lower my risk, it also helps me when I'm going forward into the future. So but the main thing that I'm like worried about, right? The main thing that kind of where my headspace is, and a lot of people have been asking on my comments. They've been kind of curious about, okay, well, what is the actual experience like as a software engineer? Because they're going through the process right now of either going to school or applying or thinking about going to school. And so they're very curious, like, okay, well, what is the actual process? So that's why I'm trying to kind of outline, okay, well, where's my headspace at? What are my concerns? What are my the things that I'm worried about? What are the things that I'm doing? What are all of these different aspects, and kind of documenting my way along as a fresh new software development or software engineer. And so right now, I got the job. I'm very happy. I feel very calm and grateful that I have this amazing opportunity, but my headspace is also okay. Well, now that I have this opportunity, I need to make sure that I position myself for success going forward into the future, and in particular, to mitigate any risks that could happen. Because right now, I have this amazing stream coming towards me, right? I'm getting so much knowledge, I'm getting work experience, I'm getting an income, but it's only one stream. If something happened, if the company said, we don't have any more software tasks that we need, or something happened at the company and they needed to reorganize, right? Well, then that one stream that I have is cut off. And so I need to make sure that I try to lower those risks as quickly as possible so that if something does happen, I do have an avenue to kind of navigate to another safe position. So that's the way that I'm thinking. That's my plans. That's how I'm going to be moving forward. And so every single paycheck, that's the way that I'm thinking about it, right? Every single paycheck, it is a lower and lower and lower amount of risk, right? Every single paycheck, I have high risk at the financial, but then I get paid and I put that in the market. That lowers the risk. Every single uh, page, every single 2 week block, right? 'Cause that's how I'm thinking about it. Every single 2 week block, I get kind of more and more instantiated at the company. Every 2 week block, I get which one was this one? This one was work experience. Yes, I get 2 weeks of work experience. Every 2 weeks, I get 2 weeks worth of skills. And again, this is the one that I'm really excited about because it's in my hands. It's in my control. I have power to affect this one by actively searching out, doing as good a job as I can, and really learning as many skills as I can. So this one has the ability to flex. Like, it's not just 2 weeks. It's okay, well, how much did you actually learn in those 2 weeks? How much did you apply yourself in those 2 weeks? So that's how I'm thinking about it. I will be making more videos just documenting my experience going from graduate to a new software engineer and trying to build my career. And if you have any questions, just send them my way. I would love to answer and address any questions you have. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.